and you are with me live for this watch along. And do let me know what you think is going to happen with regards to scores. Who do you think is going to be the difference for either team? These sort of things. Do let me know what your thoughts are as the game goes along. See, Mark Powell there has joined the Forever Sports member club. So, well, thank you very much, Mark. Welcome to the club. Welcome to the family. We look forward to having you. Of course, you get many benefits for joining the membership of the channel. Be sure to go and check that out and see what you can do regarding that as well. Yeah, so the first game that's not in the URC calendar for both these teams, playing against each other now, part of the EPCR Challenge Cup, which is basically second division to the Heineken Cup, which you'll see our other major franchises playing later today as well. And the game is underway. Here we go. First time ever the Lions are playing in such a tournament like this. And yeah, playing in their black kit, which is interesting today. Obviously, normally playing in their white and red, opting for the black kit so the Dragons can play in their white kit. And yeah, ball's first kicked off by the Dragons, and Lions kick it back to the Dragons half, and now Dragons have possession of it just inside the Lions half. They spread it out to the wing already, and they found a bit of space here. Dragons putting an early little attack here together, but Warner does well to get back and dot the ball down behind in his own goal area. So early little bit of pressure from the Dragons there, but nothing really too serious. Where is Steve? I've not seen him in a while. Yeah, well, tell you what, but I think it's the same sort of question that we ask ourselves in the Forever Sports team. But no, Steve is currently at the Alfred Dunhill Championships. He's covering that as part of the golf coverage for Forever Sports. So he's doing that. So I'll be watching rugby with you today, and I think somebody else is doing one of the games as well today. So yeah. How do we watch this in Australia? Darren, you can watch this in Australia if you go into our description in the video, in this video's description. We do utilize one of our partners, ExpressVPN, and you can go and see how they can help you out in that regard. There's a whole little instructions and a step-by-step process on how you can watch the game live using a VPN through ExpressVPN. So do go and check that out, and that should be able to get you through. The Lions winning a penalty now, just inside their own half. Dragons players not running away there, so Lions now got an opportunity to kick it to further downfield into the Dragons half. Indeed, the kick's not too bad either. It's a bit of a different Lions team today compared to what they've been playing with recently in the URC. A couple of players coming into the lineup who haven't been seeing much game time. So Andres Kutsia being one of them. He's made his way into the starting lineup again today. So the ball goes in from the line out for the Lions, and now the Lions on the attack. Oh, there's a deliberate knock-on apparently, and it's going to be a penalty to the Lions from their move there. Dragons player went through and had no real chance of catching that ball, so a penalty now, and it's just inside the 10 meter line, and Lions opt to go for points, and I think it's Johnny Lombard. I'll just confirm that now. I think I can't. I just need to confirm that, but. Yeah, we'll have an attempt at goal now for the Lions to put them into an early lead. Yeah, Johnny Lombard taking this kick here. Lions been kicking very well this season because they do have an abundance of choice, obviously, when it comes to that. got a Gianni Lombard. We've got a Jordan Hendricks. Even Andres Kutsia can kick a goal quite well. It's just a good thing to have as well. And also Warner does kick too, and he can kick very well. So Johnny Lombard with the attempt though. He turns immediately. It's gone straight down the center. Lions 3 points. Darren, you are welcome. Albert saying Lions. Yeah, indeed. Let's go Lions. But yeah, Lions now into an early lead here. It's 3-0. Dragons now having to kick off again. So yeah, do let me know of your score predictions. I'm going to quickly put that up now. I'm going to put a little a poll up for all of you to answer. But who do you think is going to win this match? And how many points do you reckon that they'll win as well? As Chituka now running up the ball from his 22, doing quite well. Ball comes back from Warner to Johnny Lombard. Johnny Lombard kicks it further upfield. It's not gone out to Dragons, so now going to try and counter-attack with this. Comes to the number 8, and he's running through. He's found a big gap in the middle there. Warner having to make the tackle. He does knock it on, luckily. Warner's tackle does result in a lock-on, so the Lions players who let the number 8 through there are forgiven. As Warner does manage to force the knock-on there, which does sort of save them from a little bit of embarrassment. Albert, they're saying no exact prediction, but Lions to win comfortably at the end. Yeah, I do think Lions will win relatively comfortably. Of course, these two did meet just not last weekend, but the weekend before that. And Lions did win that game fairly comfortably. I think it was 33-18. So, yeah, Lions showed their class there, and I'm sure they'll look to do the exact same thing today. Of course, the Lions would maybe look at the European Champions Cup, the European Challenge Cup here. First time they're in this sort of tournament, of course. I think they might look at this and think, this might be able to be a tournament where we can look at as a means of getting trophies, maybe? I mean, given the way the Lions have been playing so far this season, there's absolutely no reason why they can't compete for silverware in this competition, of course, and then to try and bring themselves into the Heineken Cup for next year. So we'll see how they can do. But they've had a fantastic season so far, so if they can just keep that momentum up, I'm sure they can potentially challenge any team in this competition at least, and even in the URC they're doing particularly well. The Lions have got a line out here just outside their own 22. It's PJ Buerta to put the ball in. It's taken in, done well. Warner passes it out to Johnny Lombard, passes it through to his centres. Warner now taking it out again. Comes to Johnny Lombard, who opts to kick it further upfield, straight down the centre. Bounces all the way into the 22. Jordan Williams now on the ball. Punts it into the middle. It comes back to the Lions inside the 22. It's Johnny Lombard now. He opts for a kick again. This time looking towards the line. It's a good kick. It's going right towards the 5 meters. It's a great kick. My word. And just doing enough there, the Dragons player there, to try and keep the ball in play. But only able to opt it out to Andres Kutsia on the halfway line now. He's motoring up. Kutsia puts the goose step in, but it then comes to the winger who's now gone down. Lions now playing with a bit of attacking flair now. They've got numbers if they could spread it out wide. Unable to. Comes back to Warner again. Johnny Lombard. It's Chituka. The Dragons do win the penalty. It's holding on. The Dragons managed to hold on literally from this Lions attack here. But yeah, did very well, Dragons, to just get out of that situation there. But at the end of the day, Lions were looking very, very dangerous there. So yeah, good play for the Lions so far. I think they'll be chuffed with what's happened so far, but I think hopefully they'll be wanting to get a try in the next few minutes. Angelo saying, what are your thoughts on the Europeans being apprehensive of SA teams joining their competition? I don't think they're that apprehensive. I think it can only benefit them as much as it also benefits us. The only things people might not be so keen on is, of course, the the difference in travel, so it's obviously not so close. Traveling all the way out to South Africa, it's quite far, and of course you do have differences in terms of weather, big time, because we are obviously in summer right now. Meanwhile, Northern Hemisphere all heading into winter. But otherwise, money-wise and playing-wise and skill-wise, it's much more beneficial to have the South African teams involved with the European teams, because over time it will be far more beneficial to both. It's a penalty here to the Dragons after their little short attack. They're just outside the Lions 22, so they may opt for points here themselves to try and get themselves onto the board. I would say I think it's understandable that they don't like it that we are there, but I agree it will change. It's insanely cold in Europe right now. Well, it always is at this time of the year, of course. Europe is quite a cold continent when it comes to winter. Do see a lot of snow, of course, so they won't enjoy the heat in South Africa, of course, because South Africa is certainly... It gets very, very hot here in summer. But, yeah, I mean, I don't think too many fans are apprehensive about the South Africans joining, because I think they know what it can bring in terms of quality and money and attraction to the game. You know, the rugby leagues, since the South Africans have joined, have grown exponentially in terms of viewership. So that's always fantastic. But on a less fantastic note, we're seeing Ruandrea here is being forced off early, just within 10 minutes, with a rather horrible-looking injury, it seems, on his leg. He looks like he might well be out for quite some time there. Not happy at all. So Lions having to make an early substitution there. And, yeah, that's unfortunate. So Klabakanya comes on in place of Ruandrea, who's, of course, a fantastic person to bring off the bench for the Lions. And meanwhile, Dragons do take that penalty and make it 3-3. So we currently do have a tight game at the moment. Lions still looking the better of the two teams, but still. Albert there saying they need us like we need them. Yeah, literally, it's exactly it. It's we need their money, they need our skill set, essentially. They need our physicality and our teams there to improve their rugby. But also on top of that, they're also getting a lot of money out of this, because South African rugby audiences are large in terms of viewership. So having a lot more people watching in terms of TV rights is going to significantly improve the money for all the teams involved. So yeah, just about 11 minutes past. And Lions have got a line out now. Just on the halfway line. Goes in. It's slightly mishandled. It's a free kick to the Dragons for numbers going in. The free kick is taken by the Dragons here. They just tap and go. They send it to the forwards. They try to drive it up themselves. Dragons trying on the attack here. Tries a little give and go, but doesn't work. Warner takes him down. Dragons trying to push through this Lions defensive line. Not getting too far so far, but they do have a lot of space in the out wide here. They're trying to make use of it now. Passing it out to the wingers. Oh dear, there's a missed tackle, which is not going to help. And indeed, they are over. They are over. Dragons are over for their first try of the game and the first try of the game. That is shocking tackling there from, I'll have to confirm who it was from the Lions, but really poor attempt at the tackle. Jordan Williams with the try. But my word, Lions will have to be looking at themselves in the mirror in terms of how they allow that to happen. Just watching it again now. Comes through to the loose forward, and it's just a shocking attempt of a tackle by Lions number 7. Oh dear. And he knows it too. It's not a good tackle at all, and as a result, Dragons do see themselves take the lead. Oh, but that injury looked bad. Yeah, I don't think you're going to see Ruandrea in a game for a while now, unfortunately. Mario saying there, is this a full-strength Lions side? Not all teams take this competition equally seriously. It's not a weak Lions side by any measure of means. It's basically just a rotated starting 15. Yeah, it's basically a slightly rotated team to the URC teams that we've seen recently, but only very slightly. Most of the players are still are still regulars. I mean, Warner being one of the players that's getting a start that he hasn't had a start in a while. Same as Andries Coetzee hasn't started in a while, and Johnny Lombard even hasn't had a chance to start the game in a little while. So they do taking other players out of the team a little bit, but I mean they're all on the bench basically. So it's more or less what you'd call a full strength side. But yeah, Lions now trailing 10 points to 3 as they restart this game again. And they probably need to look to improve themselves now, the Lions. They have gone to sleep for the last 5 minutes a little bit. Some small errors creeping in and some poor tackling, so they will need to improve. So a line out share to the Lions again. It's just outside the Dragons 22. It was a poor clearance by them in the end. Comes to Landsberg. Creel now takes it up. Oh, big hit there in the midfield. Buerta now running it up the midfield. Comes to Warner. Warner shifts it out. Some good stepping for the Lions there. Good hands in the offloads. Comes to Chituka. He's almost on the 5-meter line. Lions now really looking close to this try here. Balls come slow though, unfortunately. Comes to Landsberg. Landsberg goes down. Warner's now taking the ball out. Comes to Klabakanya. Warner again. Steve Satole. He turns well. He's moving forward nicely. Lions very close to the try line now, just in the middle of the pitch as well. Big push again. They're getting ground. I think they just need to keep it in the forwards here, the Lions. Buerta picks and go. Doesn't able to get over though. And Klabakanya now. But there's an advantage to the Lions as well. They shift it out. Comes to Johnny Lombard. And he's over. Lions get their try back. Good play from the Lions there. Persistent in the attack. Johnny Lombard with the try there as well. And you'll look to convert it now. So great little try, basically. The forwards just bashing it up the middle. And then the moment they get the advantage, they split out to Johnny Lombard. He turns in the tackle and manages to get enough ground to go over the line. So Lions with their first try of the Challenge Cup. It was spilt a little bit by Johnny Lombard first, but he did regather and go over. So not too much of a problem in the end. So Lions will try to look to build on this now, having got their try back. The ref's been telling Johnny Lombard to wait for his kick. Have to see what that's for. And the kick is good. So Johnny Lombard does manage to convert his try. So it is 10 points apiece, 16 minutes into this game. And yeah, Lions looking a little bit better now, having just woken up. Did for about 5 minutes or so go to sleep a bit. So it would be nice to see them start to get a bit more consistency and a bit more ball in possession. So the Dragons kick it back off again. It's deep into the 22. Landsberg Chituka spills a little bit, but then regathers. Charges back into contact there. Warner now taking the ball. He's asking for people to get in the way. It comes back to Johnny Lombard, who opts to punt it upfield. It's not out though, so Dragons now with the ball. Just outside their 22 in the middle of the field. They're running it up. It's Moriarty who was doing it, but spilled in the tackle. Now Lions can try to counter here. Comes to Duplessis, who puts the ball down as he wasn't held, so he keeps going on the 10-meter line. Warner now taking the ball out. Comes to Landsberg. Now Johnny Lombard to Buerta. It's a big hit on Buerta, but luckily Lions get there quickly. Warner now opting to go the opposite way. It's a big hit again. Andries Coetzee having to sit a player down as well. Lions just needed to calm it down here a little bit, I think. They've rushed this too much. Oh, my word. As I say, they needed to calm that down. They're just going to knock it on. Oh, dear. Oh, dear. you do have to wonder about the Lions there as to why they were opting to try and speed that up so much when it was so broken. The line wasn't really working, sort of just set up a decent ruck and then just sort out how you're going to attack at that point. But no, Warner then opting to take the ball out and passing it to Skuman, and Skuman spills it as a result because it wasn't a great pass, nor did he think ball was coming to him. Now, James saying Warner's not good enough. Yeah, I think the issue with Warner is that he tends to be a very slow playing scrum half. If I compare him to players in terms of type of way they play, not nearly as good, of course, but would be the Springboks legend. Well, I say I'm comparing him to a supposedly Springboks legend. But Warner is nowhere near as good as he was. I've actually gone blank his name now. I'm trying to search quickly just to try and get him. But you guys know I'm talking about the tall scrum half of Springboks. Played very slow. He wasn't very quick to rucks. Didn't hit rucks very quickly. I'll get there in the end. Nonetheless, Dragons now on the attack from the scrum. Lions doing well to try and get over that ball. Not able to in the end. Dragons still with the ball. There's not a lot of rolling away here from Steve Satoli, unfortunately, so it is an advantage to the Dragons. Dragons with the penalty advantage tried to chip over. It's a garbage kick, so they just don't even bother. The Dragons come back to their penalty, and they're not opting to go for post. They go straight for the line. So I think they're trying to see if they can get their second try of the day. Steve just getting caught there. Steve Satoli, that is, of course, just getting caught in the ruck. They're not able to roll away properly. So it's about just 10 meters off the Lions line now. This Dragons line out. It's spilt a little bit, but they still retain possession. Dragons set up the ruck. They try to go the blind side, not able to. Lions over it. Ball's been spilt. They can go through. There's a penalty apparently against the Lions. Not quite sure what for. Hands beyond the ball apparently. I think it's a bit harsh. The ball did come out of the ruck. And Dragons opt straight to go for the line again. On the 5 meter line now. So the line out's good for the Dragons. They're opting for the maul. Problem is the Lions did sink that first just, so it's going to... Oh, my word. Oh, it's a great on the line tackle there from the Lions to stop them getting over, but it is an advantage to the Dragons. They did collapse them all. The Lions. Dragons still with this ball. Creel with the tackle now. Lions doing well to stop this this attack at the moment. And the referee has blown his whistle. I think the Dragons players think he's over. But ref says it's held up, so they're going to come back for the penalty. So Lions doing very well there to stop that try from being scored. But they do come back for the penalty now. And they just need to be careful now, of course. It is still early on in terms of penalties against. But they just need to be careful, that they don't give away more penalties. Otherwise, they start looking at disciplinary issues. And the moment that starts happening, then you're going to have a bit of an issue. With a yellow card, potentially. So Lions just got to be careful here now, just to ensure that they keep their discipline. So with the line out again, the Dragons, they opt for the maul again. This time the maul didn't quite work. And it's come down to a ruck, but it's right on the Lions line. Lions doing very well to defend so far. Comes blind, and he's darted through in that blind side. They're not a good enough defense there from the Lions in terms of the defensive line. And they find their way through the Dragons again for another try. So, Lions now looking at the scoreline right now and thinking, Dragons are seemingly coming to play a lot better than they were 2 weeks ago. It's Roger Williams with the try, the scrum half for Dragons, with the kick to come. But easy in the end, actually, unfortunately. It was just Lions didn't opt to defend the blind side very well. And, just darted around the side there, and there was a huge gap, and you could just dive through. So Sam Davies now with the attempting kick to take the Dragons 7 points clear of the Lions. I think the issue that the Lions are finding right now is that it's been too broken for them in terms of when they've had possession. They've not had the ball long enough. They've not really done too much inventive stuff yet with the ball in hand, and they haven't actually had the ball in hand all that often. So I think they just need to calm it down and slow this game down a little bit, because they know that they've got a bigger pack, the Lions. And I think they know that generally the team is better. So all they need to do is just slow the game down a little bit and let the basics work well. And if they can just do that, I think they'll be fine. But they do need to just calm it down a bit and just do their jobs. Johnny Lombard restarts the game here. Comes off to the Dragons. Dragons taking it down just inside their 22. It's not a great kick from the Dragons there. It's not gone out. Andrews could see a fields it in the midfield. It comes onto the Dragons 10-meter line. And the Lions now have an opportunity to attack. They're playing it through the line. It comes back to Duplessis. Duplessis opts to go forward. Warner now again. Passes out to Gianni Lombard, who grabs it through into the 22. Dragons now kicking it straight back from the 22. And it's a good kick at the end of the day. It's about the 10-meter line inside the Lions half. Not quite sure what the Lions were opting for a grubber kick in that situation there. Personally would have liked to have seen them keep the ball in hand. But nonetheless, Lions now got a line out now on their own 10-meter line. So yeah, let me know in the chat where you're watching from, who you're supporting here, and what do you think the rest of the results are going to be today in the European Cups. I always love how it's called the European Cup. We've got South Africa who's here as well. But yeah, let me know what are your predictions for the other games. Of course, we've got a huge game later with the Harlequins and Sharks, which I'll also be watching along for. So do stay near the channel. And the ref's coming back for a penalty here against the Dragons for tackling a player in the air. It was Gianni Lombard who was tackled in the air. It's a bit harsh on the Dragons player because the ball wasn't as a result of the kick. Gianni Lombard just had to jump to get to a higher ball. But ref's just telling him that you have to be aware that if a player does go up like that, you've got to bring him down safely. And he did, unfortunately, just tip him as a result. Andrews could see opts to kick the ball as long as possible. It's not a bad kick either. It's just into about the Dragons, just outside their 22. So Lions now with an attacking line out, just to say, outside the Dragons 22. It's quite crucial that they do make use of this and get some points onto the board again. What they don't want to do is keep trailing for too long. Comes to Duplessis in the centres. Now Warner with the ball. Spreads it to Buerta. Warner now with the ball again. Comes to Johnny Lombard. He tries to start the attack. And it's Andrews Kutsia running the middle line, but I think it was a forward pass, unfortunately. It was indeed. John Lombard looking very frustrated with the team there. I think the Lions are starting to try some things, but it's not quite working right now. They're a little bit out of sorts, which is just starting to frustrate them, I think. If that ball wasn't forward, you would have seen an interesting piece of play there because Creel and Kutsia were through. So Lashe with the forward pass, I think it's deemed from him. Yeah, indeed. Tried the inside ball to Andrews Kutsia. Andrews Kutsia was away with Creel on his outside as well, but yeah, the ball did go forward. So it's going to be a scrum. But before we get there, we are going to have a water break first. And it is boiling today in Joburg, so for once I can almost go with the water break. I think the sheer volume of rugby games this time of year caught SA fans off guard. Yeah, I don't think it caught them off guard, but I certainly think we're all quite keen for it. I think we all, get a lot of rugby right at the end of the year here. Most of us going on holidays and things like that, and starting to dial down for the year, but we still get our rugby, so we're all quite chuffed with that. Also saying cheaters forever, Albert. Well, yeah, let's hope all our South African teams can do as well as possible in these cups. Of course, Cheetahs fans will be quite chuffed that they're back into a competition that deals with the overseas contingent after being essentially kicked out. So, yeah, Cheetahs back into a competition which they get to play in more or less the same sort of realms as the other franchises in the country. So it's about 13 minutes before half time now. Oh my word. Not quite sure. He says he's checked it. Interestingly, the Lions just claiming a bit of a high tackle there on Lashe. But the ref not interested in entertaining the requests. So coming to another scrum here. Oh no dear, there we go. We are going to have a TMO check now. The ref has decided we're going to go for a TMO check. I think it was the TMO brought the attention to the ref. It was a bit of a high tackle after Kamlashe's forward pass. We just see him here. He shifts the ball on. And there's number 8's making a tackle, but then number 1 comes in quite high with the shoulder straight to the face. He doesn't keep following through, I think, is the part that's going to help him out here. But he's always going high, and his elbow's always, his shoulder's always going straight in. So contact is made straight away with the jaw of Kamlashe. So I think you might well actually see potential. I mean, it's definitely going to be a penalty, I think, but it's just a penalty only, the ref says, which I probably agree with. Few saying, wow, Dragons leading, almost 30 gone. Yes, oh dear, red, no, definitely not. It's just a penalty. There's a bit of a high tackle. He does make contact with the chin, but it's not too dangerous. So just a penalty. Be interested to see what Lions do with this penalty. Do they opt to go for the posts, or do they go for the line? It looks like they're going for the line. Oh, but they're saying Alliance allowing Dragons to entertain us until they go for the kill in the second half. Well, yeah, of course, Lions have done a lot better in the second half recently than they have in their first halves. So let's see if they can continue that same recent form in terms of how they should play. I think the issue also with the Lions so far is that I've said they need to slow it down, but in terms of phases, they need to slow it down. But when they've set up a good ruck and they've set up a good opportunity, they then need to speed it up in terms of getting the ball to the back line as quickly as possible. I think they've had an issue there, where once they've got themselves set, they've then been too slow into the attack. But another penalty to the Lions here just after that line out there for no rolling, I think it was, or I'll have to confirm what it actually was for, but anyway. But Kutsia is now going to opt to go out again. So a couple of penalties racking up here for the Dragons. So another one, and they might start having to be spoken to. It was poor by Skuman. He lets the ball go on in the maul, but I think he was engaged early before he'd made the floor, and that's why he did actually let that ball go. Comes to Skuman again. Does better this time to set up the maul. The maul is now set for the Lions. It's going backwards for now. The ref might as well say use it once. Du Plessis gets involved, and as he gets involved, Lions now got the advantage. This maul is moving. It's breaking up now from the Dragons side. It's moving very, very quickly forward, and it's a try to the Lions. Oh wait, ref is blowing is calling time. He's going up. He wants to see. He wants to see the grounding. He thinks Nklabakanye might have dropped the ball there on the line. So either Nklabakanye has I don't know why I clicked there. So has scored the try, or he's knocked it on right on the line. But potential try to the Lions. Otherwise, they'll come back for a penalty. Oh, I think he has lost it. I think he has knocked it on. The Challenge Cup, of course. That great European nation, South Africa. Yes, well, I don't think it's just the name that needs a little bit of changing, possibly. Oh dear, I think he drops it. I think it's just the name needs changing, because I don't think too many European fans are upset about having South African teams involved. I think they're quite chuffed about having them. So it's just the name, obviously being the challenge, the European Challenge Cup. And yeah, we're not playing in Europe. Andrew saying, what region is the game on live? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Otherwise, I think if you're using ExpressVPN and things like that, you can follow the description and it'll tell you which ones to use to try and find a live version of the game. I think they're looking more at a try than a knock on here. I think because his right hand is always on the ball at some point, even though it's not necessarily controlling it. It is on the ball the whole time. Yeah, it's a try. So Nklabakanye there with the try. Yeah, so half an hour into this game and Lions get that try back again. But as we've seen so far in this game, it seems to be Lions score Dragons score points, Lions score points back, and then immediately after the Lions score points, Dragons get some more points again. So it'll be crucial now for the Lions not to concede after this try. If they can be the next ones to score points again, then it'll be a much happier team, of course. Now, good job, Lions. Indeed, yeah, it was a good job. Good try in the end. Johnny Lombard with the conversion. It is successful. So 17 all. So yeah, we're going to get the game going again with the Dragons now. And Dragons do kick it off again. Comes to Chituka. He misses one tackle, goes through just on the 22 here. Warner sends it out to Skuman. Skuman tries to go forward, not able to do much. Warner now calling for players to get in the way so he can pass it off to Johnny Lombard. Johnny Lombard takes the ball, doesn't opt to kick. Comes to Kutsia, who then decides to kick the ball. Clearance is not out though, it's just to the halfway line. So Dragons now with an attack now. It's Moriarty running up the field. He's played quite well today, Moriarty, so far. But it is taken down there. But there's a bit of space here for the Dragons. They didn't opt to use the Du Plessis with the tackle. Dragons now opting to go through the line here, but a tackle from PJ Buerta. But Dragons still with the ball. It's finding a gap, but it's closed eventually from the Lions. And Chituka is over this ball. And it's an advantage to the Lions, though he wasn't supporting his body weight. So Dragons now with an advantage behind their name, meaning they can play a bit more free-flowing rugby. And they try to kick it over, but it's well charged down there by Jaco Kriel. So they'll come back for the penalty. Just going back to the comments here. Stevens apparently decided to pop up, saying, greetings, my good people from the Lowveld. How are the lads doing? Albert saying, Lions waiting for Dragons to tie, but not letting the score get away. Hugh saying, phew. Part 2, no. Try now. They'll change the name. This year was all last minute arranged to sponsorship name fully only Morand. Yeah. The lads got this. Good evening. Good evening. Where are you watching from, Marius? But yeah. I do think you'll probably see the name change next year. But of course, it might not do because of if it's too powerful of a name. But it is the Heineken Cup already, and that doesn't really have any problems with it. It's just the European Challenge Cup, and I think you might see the European part of it fall away. But Dragons take that penalty and they put it out, and they've now won the line out that they've just taken, and it's on the Lions' 5-meter line. They're trying to set up the maul. Lions doing very well to stop it so far. It's not moving. They're going to have to use it once. They have been told to use it once. It's now moving again, but sideways. The maul has stopped again, so surely they'll have to take the ball out. Indeed, it does come out. Oh, it's an advantage somehow. I don't quite know how the advantage was because the ball had come out of the maul. It's a bit harsh on the Lions. Nonetheless, Dragons with an advantage on the Lions line now. Trying to penalty for a high tackle as well now. I think the Lions might well have to be careful here. Good tackle from Chituka there. Dragons coming through again. A new advantage again. Lions are going to have to be very, very careful now because there might well be some talking to them. Oh dear. There you go. Penalty's been taken. The Dragons eventually stuff it up basically, but they'll come back for the penalty. I'm not sure if Lions are going to get spoken to yet, but it doesn't seem like it. I think the next penalty will definitely be a warning to the Lions. So yeah, Dragons opt for the line out again. So Lions going to need to try and survive this now, just with 5 minutes before the half-time. I don't know if the ref has warned the Lions or not. I don't think he has, so I think the Lions have still got one penalty to give away. Ball goes in. It's spilled from the Dragons in the line out, and it was gone backwards apparently, but nonetheless, Lions go through and they take the tackle down. And Dragons trying to force the ball over the line through the forwards, not able to make too much ground so far. It's come to the middle. Lions doing very well to defend. PJ Butch is over the ball, but he's been cleared off it just as quickly. And he tries to dart over there. It's Williams. He passes it into the midfield. Oh my word. I'll tell you something. That was not a bad piece of interplay there from the Dragons to score that try. They get over. But certainly not the usual method. Sam Davies with the try. Just trying to watch this again just to see what happens. So basically, there's a lack of pillars from the Lions, and Dragons scrum half just opts to go himself. He gets taken down on the line, but he pops it up for his fullback, Davies, just to get over. He puts the ball down. So yeah, Dragons now with another try. So again, Lions doing the same thing. They score the try and they just concede it just as quickly. So yeah, Dragons now with their own try. So Lions are going to have to go into half-time, hopefully having scored another try just to sort of stay within the realms at this point. But they do need to have a look at themselves. They need to get the second half going a bit better. Because they have already conceded more points than they did 2 weeks ago against the Dragons in a full game, in the first half only. Hugh, I will tell you who got the Dragons tries in a bit. I'll just confirm that all. But I think it was Davies, Williams, and Davies again, actually, I think. Dragons back row at the tops. Good smugglers. Between you and your brother, I choose you to do the live games. Keep it up. Yeah, I appreciate it, Denswell. Marius, got a very sad face there. I don't know why. Hugh saying, yes, where's the Lions comeback then? High scoring game, amazing. Yeah, I mean, look, the Lions have scored a try each time the Dragons have, so I'm sure we will see the Lions come back and score another try. It's all about the second half now, apparently. This first half has basically just been each team's attacked. When they've got into the red zone, they've scored a try. So it's just a matter of both teams being able to just improve the defense, I think. Defensively for both teams has not been fantastic. So if the Lions can just get that try before half time now, as they put the line out in on the 10-meter line, they try to set up the maul. It's a fantastic maul so far. The Dragons were not expecting it, so it motored forward for a little bit. It has been stopped, and the ref has said use it once. Warner's going to have to look for this ball, but the maul is moving forward again. And I think it's been collapsed. Yeah, it has been collapsed by the Dragons, so it's advantage to the Lions. Now Duplessis takes it out past it. Gianni Lombard opts for the grabber through. It's not a great grabber. He's not going to get there. Referee comes back for the penalty. Yeah, 5 white being, 5 Dragons, 5 being penalised there for collapsing the maul. So Lions now, just a minute before half time, get a penalty inside the Dragons half. I'm sure they'll kick it into the corner and try and get a maul try or something equivalent. So Lions have conceded 7 penalties to the Dragons 5. So quite even generally. I say that the game is very even so far. It's not, there's not too much in it. So yeah, John Lombard's going to kick for the line here. Hopefully try and get as close to the 5-meter line as possible. Hugh saying, don't tell Stephen I said this. You are very good at this, commentator. Why can't you tell Stephen that? Of course you can tell that. It's not a fantastic kick from Johnny Lombard. It's good enough, but it's not quite on the 5 meters, so quite a bit of work still to do for the Lions to get over the line. But it's just inside the Dragons 22. So Lions win the line out. They set up the maul again. The maul is moving forward again. It's well set by the Lions. It's moving forward very, very well. Dragons struggling to stop it. Now doing somewhat, but the Lions turning it very well. They keep moving forward. The Dragons are in offside positions now. The ref might have to start looking at this. Ball has come down, but the ref hasn't given an advantage, so he's saying it came down legally. The hooter has just sounded. And they are just on the 5-meter line now, the Lions. Now they're going to try and drive it up with the forwards. It's Landsberg with the ball now. Stisatole here helping him out. And Klabakanya looks to take the ball out now. He moves forward. Not able to make too much ground. Still just trying it through the forwards. It's Landsberg. He makes good ground going forward. He's a little bit isolated. The ball has been lost in the tackle though. It's advantage to the Lions. Penalty. Don't quite know what the penalty was for, but a penalty nonetheless against the Dragons. I think the Lions may well opt for the line again here because the maul has worked very well to get going. Just the first 5 meters of the maul has always gone forward very well, and then it just stops a little bit. So Lions surely going to kick it out here and maul it over. They're tapping and going apparently. Not opting for the line out. They're tapping and going from the 5-meter line. It's PJ Buerta with the ball. He taps and goes. It's just on the Dragons line essentially. Penalty against the Lions for holding on by the Dragons. Shocking decision for the Lions, if I'm honest. I don't understand why you tap it there when the maul has been working so well. Just put it on the 5-meter, maul it over, and you've got to try just before half time. But no, they opt for the tap. It's PJ Buerta who goes forward, who's not exactly my favorite player, and yeah, goes down. Somehow is isolated. And the Dragons go and turn the ball over. And thus half-time. And Lions are trailing by 7 points. Dragons 24, Lions 17. Yeah, it's a horrendous decision, if I'm honest. Marius there saying that was not good decision-making. No, not in a chance. When you've just had three lineouts work exceptionally well in your favour in terms of the maul as a result, and then you don't opt to do the same thing, what's the point? What's the point? Anyway, guys, that is halftime. I will be meeting you back in about 10-ish minutes. Until then, I'm just going to go and have a drink and things like that. But do stay here. Do have a chat with yourselves, amongst yourselves, etc. And also stats will be up still. So, yeah, I'll see you just in a little bit, essentially. So, cheerio. Hello everybody, we are back for the second half, and just immediately what I can say is it looks like Lions are making some changes at halftime. I see Jordan Hendricks has come back onto the has come onto the field off the bench. It looks like to be in place of Gianni Lombard. So Lions making a change immediately at the halftime. Obviously seeing something wrong there in Gianni Lombard. Not necessarily wrong, but opting for a change there. I think what you also might see soon, and I'm hoping relatively soon, is hopefully a Nohamba come on quite early on in the second half as well, because I do think he adds a completely different element to the Lions' attack in terms of pace, which Warner's just not able to do. So interesting that the Lions making a substitute, big substitute at halftime, and taking off John Lombard and putting on Jordan Hendricks. So let's see how it should work for them coming into the second half. Obviously trailing to the Dragons 24.17 the Lions, and they have shown glimpses of their attack, the Lions, I suppose, but not really. It was very sluggish first half of the Lions, really, and yeah, they just need to fix things up in the second half. But nonetheless, Jordan Hendricks gets the second half underway. He kicks it just outside the 22. Rupswick when they're chasing the ball and not able to get there quite easily enough. But PJ Buerta looks to be holding this ball on. I think he's turned it over. Indeed, he has. So the Lions have now got the ball just outside the Dragons 22 after that restart. And Smith is also onto the field, I see. Comes to Jordan Hendricks, plays to Andries Kutsia. He gets taken down relatively early. Jordan Hendricks having to recover there for him. Warner comes now with the ball. Lions trying to play a bit of broken play. Comes to Nklabakanya. The ball comes out randomly to Warner. I don't know what Warner's doing. He's just going backwards, and then that was a shocking play from Warner, if I'm honest. Just decided to run backwards and then run forwards again. It just pretty much lost the Lions a lot of momentum there. And Nklabakanya takes the ball up, tries to regather so that Warner can get up off his feet and go again. Jordan Hendricks now passes it off. It's a good drive there. Warner trying to find the ball again. He gets the ball eventually. Comes to the back line now for the Lions. Trying to do a bit more pass maneuvers, but it's lost in the tackle by Smith. So now the Dragons with the ball inside their own 22. Trying to run it out, not able to. And the kick is made out of the 22. And it is on the line that's out. So on the halfway line, the Lions are going to have they're not going to have their own line out. It's going to be a Dragons line out. I think it was charged down ever so slightly on the line. So as a result, it's going to be a Dragons line out on the halfway line. So Dragons do well to get out of that situation. Just going to go back to a couple of the comments that I saw at halftime. Well, that I didn't see at halftime, but that have come. So who scored the Dragons tries? Davies and Williams. I know they scored. I think Davies scored 2. Yeah, Davies scored 2 and Williams scored the other. PJ wants to be here. Yeah, indeed. See you soon. They're going to ice these 3 Dragons tries so far. Yeah, Please tell us more about this comp. It's 1 down for the Heineken Cup, but in relation to the URC, is it stronger or the same level? We're in the European rugby scene, still an unknown factor. It's probably the same level as the URC when you consider the URC has half of the current. A lot of the Heineken Cup teams are in the URC, of course. So I'd probably say it's the same level because whilst the Lions and the Dragons being slightly not necessarily as good in the URC, the other teams that make it up from like France and England and the other leagues, they do take the skill level up. So I'd probably say the same sort of level as the URC. So still quite a difficult competition. Richard, it's not a bad idea. I think we will be having a show soon where we basically just explain how rugby is working at the moment. Because I do think a lot of people in South Africa also, as much as they watch their teams, they're very confused to what is actually happening in the rugby scene in this country. And it is all a bit new to us all and a bit different. So it's not the worst idea to do a show basically explaining what is exactly going on and how everything works. But we will get there. So from that scrum there, the Lions now coming forward. It's Andries Kutsia has managed to break through a tackle. He can't get the ball away though. It's in the Dragons half on the 10-meter line. Jordan Hendricks opts for the grubber in behind. There's nobody home. It's Edward van der Merwe! He's over! Great try from the Lions. Exactly how you want to start up again. Jordan Hendrickse being the difference there. Came to him and the Dragons had nobody back because they had to cover the line. So Jordan Hendrickse opted for the grubber kick through. And Edward van der Merwe just kicked it again after nobody was there. The ball wasn't bouncing up. And he just kicked it onto the try line or into the in-goal area. And as a result, just put the ball down over the line. And Lions get their third try of the day. Much better play for the Lions. That's very well done by Edward van der Merwe, but also Jordan Hendrickse there. Great piece of rugby there from the Lions. Dion Peke, or you're asking for a link. If you just follow the description in the video, you can see exactly how you can watch this game using one of our partners, ExpressVPN. So do go and do that. That's a fantastic try there from Edward van der Merwe. Set up also, of course, by Jordan Hendrickse, who's now going to look to convert this. That's not Jordan Hendrickse, though. That is Hendrickse. Wait, what? That is Hendrickse. Yeah. Sorry, it was just I suddenly thought it was Lombard again for a second. I was thinking, no, but he's gone off, definitely. So the Lions back on level points for the Dragons, having started the second half much better than they did in the first. So let's see if the Lions can capitalize more. Again, I still think the Lions will be looking to put Nahamba on soon, who will, of course, make quite a big difference in terms of the speed of the attack and get into the line a lot quicker. So great signing for the Lions, Nahamba. It was an inspired decision, that. Nonetheless, Warner is on the field at the moment. Warner now taking the ball out after that restart. Comes to Landsberg. Comes back to Jordan Hendrickse from inside his 22. He's going to kick it. Can't go out, obviously, so it's just in the middle of the field. Dragons collect. They're coming up now through Moriarty. Moriarty tries to find the gap, not able to. Creel is driven off the ball. Dragons up to the grubber in behind. It's well fielded by Andries Coetzee. Very well done by him. And the kick is also quite good. It's obviously, he couldn't really go out. If it had, it would have been right next to him. But did well there, Andries Coetzee. Comes to Jordan Hendrickse, who's now looking for a good line. The kicks from his 22. It's a great kick from Jordan Hendrickse, as per usual, that he's been doing all season. Fantastic kick from within his own 22. Goes out just outside the Dragons' 22. It's a fantastic kick from Jordan Hendrickse. So the Lions winning that little passage of play there, essentially. Which is saying, thanks, appreciate your knowledge and willingness to share. Now Eskom has its say in my afternoon's rugby enjoyment. See you all after 4. Yeah, I mean, Eskom really not helping, but if you're able to, do stay on the stream. Of course, that'll still go. Regardless of load shedding or not, we have plans for that to make sure that we can still be live for all of you. But yeah, essentially, the rugby scene in this country has changed dramatically in the last couple of years, and I think we are finally going to see a more consistent rugby calendar, so we can get used to that going forward. Yeah, we're just waiting for Nothnagel here. He's got a bit of a blood nose. So he's coming back now to the line out now. Emirates Lions captain, of course, Reinhard Nothnagel. What'll be interesting to see is whether he makes a Springbok side anytime soon, because he has played unbelievably well, Nothnagel. So Dragon's going to try and win this line out as easily as possible, just to try and relieve some pressure on themselves. Lions will obviously compete though, and they have competed and they've managed to win the ball. Comes back to Warner. Warner shifts the ball on to PJ Buerta, who passes it off to Chituka, who puts the round the back pass to Jordan Hendrickse, who's found the gap but not able to get through the whole way. Comes to Creel now, who's darted himself. Creel's still going. Creel's going through. Creel's motoring through the middle. He's not going to make it. He's passed it back to Emil van der Merwe, who's over the line. And then over. Lions playing much better the second half. Fantastic try. Absolutely fantastic try from the Lions. Tell you, that's exactly what they were missing in the first half, was just a bit more speed once they knew what they were doing. They just needed a little bit more speed in the attack, and they're getting that now. Edward van der Merwe with the second try of the match for himself. Great try here. Lions win the turnover from that line out. Lions doing then very well to just keep the ball alive and shifting the ball in contact. Comes to Yaku Creel, who just opts to go straight through from the ruck there and managed to get through on the 5 meter line. He's taken out, but he pops the ball back for Edward van der Merwe, who's then able to get over the line and score the try right next to the post. Lions starting the second half a lot better than they did the entire first half and see themselves back into the lead of this game for the first time since about the 5th minute. And Jordan Henderson now looking to convert this try, and he has obviously been a big difference so far. My word, Lions playing very well now. If they could just keep this momentum up for a bit, I think it might well kill the Dragons' momentum completely. And he does convert it, so Lions now 31 points, the Dragons 24. Now, the Lions just need to make sure that they don't concede points again. Yeah, Lions playing with their tails up right now, so just need to keep this momentum up. And Dragons, if you're a Dragons fan, you're going to be wanting this team just to slow the ball down a little bit right now. And just reconvene and just get this back under control, essentially. So the Dragons kick back off again. And it's just towards the line, and it is out. It bounces in field, apparently. The Lions left and think he was going to go out in the full, but it bounced in field just outside the Lions 22. So it's going to be a line out to the Lions. And we're almost at 50 minutes here, so got half an hour of game to play. Mooney, if you want to get a link to the game, I can't give you a link to the game, but what I can tell you is if you go and look in the description of the video, it does tell you how you can watch the game using one of our partners. So be sure to go and look at that and follow the instructions, and hopefully you'll be able to watch the game as well. Lions get that line out working very well. Shift the ball out, comes to the ruck. Warner back to Jordan Hendrickson, who looks to put a monster kick in. The kick is big. It's not out though. It's just inside the Dragons 22. Dragons opted to run it back. Might well kick it. He doesn't. Oh my word. Dragons now taking the ball in. It's just inside their half on the 10 meter line. And Lions have certainly been the ones that are far more dominant right now. A little bit of handbags there for the Lions players and Dragons there. So it's getting a little bit heated more in the game. It's a box kick from the Dragons. Comes back. Jordan Hendricks is underneath this one. Goes up. He's good. Passes it off to Kutsia, who's got a little bit of space but not able to. Comes back to Warner in the tackle, but Warner somehow doesn't get the ball away. I don't know why he doesn't. Nonetheless, Yaku Creel unable to get over the ball. So Dragons turning the ball over just inside the Lions half. Now Moriarty drove it up. They try to dart again, but he's a little bit isolated here, the Dragons player. Luckily, he gets support from his players. They've got numbers here, the Dragons. The Lions need to do well to defend this. Rams Makwane there, doing very well to do that. Oh, fantastic defense from Rams Makwane there. And Jordan Hendrickson. Great defense. Did very well just to wait for the player to get closer to the line and then opt to just hit him as hard as he could into the line rather than make an actual tackle. Just basically bolstered him into the line. Good defense from the Lions there just to stop the Dragons attack. And I just spilled water all over myself. Time is off. The Lions are making another replacement. And it is Nohamba who's coming on now, who I've been calling for. I think you're about to see a much quicker paced game from the Lions. And we've already increased that in the second half. But now having Nohamba on the field, who loves to get to the rucks quicker than anybody else could possibly imagine. Small little guy, Nohamba, but fantastic player and a really great signing for the Lions. Of course, the ex-Sharks scrum half, but he is now a proper Lion, and I think Lions fans are really enjoying him. So PJ Buerta to put this line out in. That's a great line out from the Lions. I'll tell you something. Oh dear. Like it was basic, but I'll tell you, it was just the number of times they shifted the fake jumping was just really threw the Dragons off. And Jordan Henderson clears the ball up into the Dragons half. Dragons going to try to run it back now to the Lions again. Lions do make the tackle. It's Yaku Krul who tries to get over, but unable to. And Dragons keep the ball out now. Trying to bolster it through the middle. Dragons having a little bit more of the ball at the moment, so Lions will need to try and get this ball back as quick as possible. As Moriarty spills it, so Lions can get through, and indeed Lions do turn it over. It's Landsberg who get the ball over, and Nahamba's looking for the ball now. Dragons have gone over illegally, so it comes back to Chituka now, who passes the ball back to Andries Kutsia, who opts to kick it in behind. It's a great kick. Great kick from Andries Kutsia. It's just on the Dragons 22, basically. And Lions obviously did score a try from this exact position not so long ago. And they might well look to do that again. And there's 2 Dragons players down in the back of the field here. So Dragons players taking a little bit of a toll in the second half so far. And Lions certainly in the driving seat now. And let me know what you think of the game so far. I mean, how's this for a swing in the second half for the Lions? 2 unanswered tries for the Lions in the second half. Dragons not able to get anywhere near. Lions with the bonus point already, of course, as a result of those 2 tries. And now firmly in the lead and looking good for their money. But yeah, Lions doing very well so far, just to basically fix their small errors from that first half. They just look a little bit more. They look a little bit more urgent in the second half. Where the first half, I think they were a little bit lackadaisy and weren't as with it as they should have been. But the second half, they've certainly been far more with it in terms of consistency and just generally all team play. They're far more in sync with each other than they were in the first half. Which is the opposite for what I can say for the Dragons. The Dragons have been making small errors here, which have resulted in conceding possession as well as a try, obviously, from that messed up line out. But they win this line out from the same position, and they tried to opt for the maul, but the maul was stopped, but it's now moving again. The maul is still going forward. It's doing quite well so far for the Dragons. They're almost up to their own 10-meter line. But they opt to take it out. It's kicked from the maul. It's gone straight up. Edwin van der Merwe to collect this. He does collect. He chooses to run. He sees a gap. Almost makes it through. Just does well enough, the Dragons, to get through that. Ooh. And the Dragons have turned the ball over. But I do think there's a little bit of playing the ball on the ground. He did go for the ball the first time. He missed it. And then he just dragged the ball back, which is technically not allowed. But nonetheless, Dragons still with the ball now. Attacking the Lions. It's a good tackle from the Lions there. The ref is called, has blown his whistle. We don't know what for. Okay, TMO has just informed the ref that White 13, Dragons 13, has pushed a player. I think that was when looking for when Edwin van der Merwe was collecting the ball from the air. So I think 13 White decided to go and obstruct a player or push a player, which of course you can't do. So it's a penalty to the Lions now. So Dragons very upset about this, and what that certainly won't help with is the Dragons' confidence, because it's just adding more frustration to the game so far. They've really not enjoyed the second half so far, and that's not going to do them any favors at all. Angela, they're asking any one player that has made the difference in the second half. Well, there's no doubt about it. It's Jordan Hendrickson. Since his arrival, the kicks have been much deeper. They've been very precise, and just generally the Lions' attack has been much quicker and much more decisive, I think. And it's not going after... It's not... I was just looking at the replay there of Nahamba getting taken out by the Dragons center. It's a bit harsh because Nahamba was changing his line ever so slightly, but nonetheless, you can't do that. He wasn't close enough to challenge for the ball. So the Lions now with a line out just on the 22 here. And almost losing it, but they managed to regain the ball again through Jaco Creel. Ball comes back. Nahamba's looking for it now. Nahamba shifts the ball out. Comes to Landsberg. Nahamba again. Comes to Smith. Smith makes it into the 22. So Lions entering the 22 now. Comes to Jordan Hendrickson, who drives the ball up himself. Nahamba now passes it out to North Nachel. North Nachel not able to make too much ground. Nahamba searching again. Pass to Andries Kutsia, who tries to dart round. Not able to. A little bit isolated, but nonetheless, Lions get it back. Nahamba pass to North Nachel. Pass to Smith. Smith's through a little bit. The Lions almost get something there. Now Nahamba passes it out to the replacement lock for Lions. getting forward through nicely here, the Lions. They're getting good play. It comes to Rugby, and he tries to pass it out, but nobody was there. And so the Lions have passed the ball straight out, unfortunately. So it's going to be a Dragons line out halfway in between the 22. But Lions, you can just see the difference the Humber has also made since coming on. In the fact that Lions are so much quicker now in terms of their attack. David, they're saying, anyone know how to watch URC Challenge and European Cup live in the UK? Well, David, if you do look in the description of the video, there's a whole little... there's a description there which explains... there's a whole little step-by-step process there which explains exactly how you can do that utilizing one of our partners, ExpressVPN. If you go and follow those instructions, you should be able to watch all of those different rugby series using that method there. So be sure to go and look at that. And yeah, hopefully you come to success with that as well. So Lions now going to try and compete with this line out. It's not clean for the Dragons. It's come back and they're going to have to try and drive it forward. And it's just still within the Dragons 22 here. Lions doing well just to hold this defense up. They need to try and do a counter-attack in defense, essentially. Just really hit them hard and come up off the line quickly. Dragons are setting up a box kick here. Indeed, the box kick comes. Ball goes deep, comes to Edwin van der Merwe, who's now trying to pass the ball out to Kutsio, who passes it off to Rabswakwane, who's not able to find a gap. He's brought down in the middle of the field, literally. Nahamba passes it out to Edwin van der Merwe, who opts not to pass it. He goes through and he tries to get the ball through to Jordan Hendrickson, but he knocks it on as a result. So they're going to come back for a scrum now, just on the halfway line. It's unfortunate by the Lions. Edwin van der Merwe managed to get his arms through the tackle there and pass it to Jordan Hendrickson, but Jordan Hendrickson not able to control the ball because as soon as he got the ball, sorry, Dragons wrapped his arms around and he couldn't really get control of that ball at all. So knock on as a result. So we have our scrum the second half, I believe the first scrum of the second half, and be interested to see because there's quite a few subs that have been put on for both teams. Lions especially for that front row. So I'll see. We'll see how that how the scrum goes. Because the scrums so far have been very even. They've not really been an element of the game. So we're almost at 60 minutes, almost halfway through the second half. Lions certainly the much better team in the second half so far. But of course, they're only a try away from the Dragons, so it's very much within distance for them. As Fasaki has also come on for the Lions now in the hooker position. So scrum's getting set now. The ball is in. Lions look to have a good hit in this. They are getting through nicely, but they are going to get the ball out, the Dragons, and they do get it out. Shifting across the back line. There's a big gap, and he's managed to find it. Dragons are coming through here. They're running on. Comes to the center. They're just inside the Lions 22 now. They've got numbers here, the Dragons. They're going to set up a ruck just inside the Lions 22. They're trying to dart through the middle again. The Lions pillars today have been shocking. Williams not able to get over, but then it comes to... It's a try to the Dragons. I'll tell you, the Lions have had one big issue today. One major issue today, which they still haven't fixed in the second half, we've just seen. Their pillars have not been set up. They have not set up their pillars properly at all. Again, it comes from the ruck here, and Williams just opts to run straight from the ruck. Because the Lions just don't seem to be looking for that ball. Now you see again. So Williams managed to make it all the way up to the Lions try line basically, and then ball is eventually dotted down by Jack Dixon. Beth was getting some conversation there with the TMO. I don't know what it was about, but I don't think it's about the try, because I think that will still stand. So we're back to level points basically, because the Dragons will convert this quite easily. Indeed they do. So we are back at 31 points apiece, so both teams with bonus points. Now, but it's poor from the Lions there not to have had any pillars. Some basic defensive errors for the Lions today, which have allowed the Dragons to get in a few times. But nonetheless, Lions have looked a lot better the second half with regards to their attack. It was a rare opportunity for the Dragons to get through. So, Lions, I don't think will be too upset or concerned. They know that they can get back into this quite easily, and I'm sure they back themselves to get another try. So the Dragons receive the ball inside their 22, and they're opting to go for the box kick again. Williams has been fantastic for them today. Of course, Williams didn't play 2 weeks ago against the Lions, and he has been a major difference in their playing today. So yeah, the ball goes out just inside the Dragons' half, still on the 10-meter line. So Lions line out on the 10-meter line inside the Dragons' half. So they need to try and convert points from this, I think, the Lions. And there's some more changes being made here from the Dragons. Keddy's gone off, and Fry has come on in his place. So the Lions' lineouts today have been quite good, but of course the first one with Fasaki now throwing the ball in. Ball goes in, still win it, absolutely fine, no problem. Now Humber shifts it out to Jordan Hendrickse. It's not been a great pass from Jordan Hendrickse. It's a bit of a hospital pass there, but nonetheless they managed to field the ball. The Lions just on the halfway line. Now Humber passes the ball out to Jordan Hendrickse again, who opts for the grubber in behind. It's just inside the 22 now. It's taken a little while for the Dragons players to get there, but he opts to run, and he's found a huge huge gap there. But he is eventually tackled on the halfway line. Dragons now with the ball again on the halfway line. And Klabakanya makes the tackle. Dragons opt for the up and under. Testing Rubs Matane and Kutsia. Kutsia manages to win the ball. He comes back infield. Rubs is there to form the ruck. Now Humber's also back now. And comes to Landsberg. Drives the ball up. Does very well. Now Humber manages to pass the ball somehow to Jordan Hendrickse in the back. I don't quite know what happened there. And then the ball completely miskicked from Jordan Hendrickse, but it's a very broken play. But Edward van der Merwe managed to find himself some space, and Jakob Kriel now on the wing. He's running through very quickly. He's handed off one. He's going through another. He passes infield. A great pass and an even better pickup. Edward van der Merwe unable to get over the ball, though, so Dragons do get the ball back from that ruck. Oh, it's a huge hit! My word! That's a huge hit from the Lions lock there. Replacement lock. My goodness. The Dragons player is going to feel that in the morning. Nonetheless, Dragons still got the ball, and they're trying to shift it out wide. They've got a bit of space in the wide position here. It's Chituka who makes the tackle eventually. It's a high tackle advantage against the Lions here, unfortunately. I think it was Chituka's tackle. Yeah, and the play stops now. It was a high tackle, unfortunately, so play does stop, but it was a great little piece of play from Jakob Kriel on the wing there, and even better pickup from just an even better pickup from I think it was Ruan Fento, I think is the one. The ref might be well to come look at this. There's a bit of a piece of foul play on Klabakanya from earlier, which I think the TMO might bring back to the ref here. Yeah, Ruan Fenter with a huge tackle. And Jakob Kriel is being subbed now. It seems they seem to be calling 6 black, saying he's going off. Duplessis has been subbed. So I think Reinhard Jonker is coming on. So Duplessis is off, and so is Jakob Kriel, which I'm sure means that Sangweni is back on. Well, not back on, but is on again. So lots of subs being made for both teams now. Hewitt has gone off for the Dragons. And Reed has come on. So they come back for the penalty now, and we're about to get some rugby going again. It's the replacement fly half for the Dragons here, who's opting to kick. And the kick is a good one. It's just outside the Lions 22. So Lions need to hang on here, and they need to also find their feet again, because they've just gone to sleep again for the last five or so minutes. So hopefully these subs will make a difference. But of course, Dragons have made some subs as well, which they'll also be hoping make the difference. So Dragons just outside the lines 22 with the line up now. They try to go for the maul, but it's a fake maul. Comes to the center. They've tried to drive it up. They're just driving it up as quickly as they possibly can. Smith's over the ball. I think he's not able to get the ball. There's a yellow card coming to the lines. And there's a yellow card to Smith. That's a huge decision in the game. Smith's very perplexed as to how that happened. He's got given a yellow card for apparently tripping a player using his leg. I think they'll come back to this. I think I want to see what whether or not this was indeed the issue that happened, because he seems very perplexed about it. But now it's a huge decision that's not going to benefit the Lions at all. Now the Lions looking very much in trouble with a yellow card for the next 10 minutes. And of course, Lions now need to make a change to bring a specialist prop position on. Oh, it's such a harsh decision on Smith. He's getting up. He's getting up from the ground to go, and the player goes straight past him and trips on him and gives a yellow card for that. I think it's one of the... actually, sorry, I will go with it. That is probably one of the worst yellow cards I've ever seen. Quite genuinely, that's one of the worst yellow cards I've ever seen. That is a shocking decision. Doesn't do anything wrong. He's literally gone down to the floor. He's trying to get up, and the player decides to attack and run straight past him. It goes into him. Player opts to go into the guy. He's getting up off the floor, and the guy gets a yellow card for it. Smith will be very hard done by there. Just going to Angelo's comment here. Are you guys doing a watch along with the other Heineken Cup later? We are. I will be doing Harlequins and Sharks, which is just after this game. 3 o'clock. I don't understand this ref. So he was about to go and blow the scrum because the scrum had gone down, and then just suddenly gives a penalty. I don't understand what he's doing. This ref is losing his mind, genuinely. The Lions front row are just as perplexed. I mean, oh my word, it's a shocking piece of refereeing because the Dragons players collapse. Lions players still all on their feet. The Dragons players overextended, lose their footing, they collapse. Somehow it's a Dragons penalty. It's the biggest load of nonsense I've seen in a while. This ref is honestly ruining this game now. Genuinely ruining this game. I cannot believe how shocking the last 5 minutes of, or 3 minutes even, of refereeing has been. It's completely ruined the competition so far in terms of this game. Lions setting up a very good scrum there, but nonetheless, Dragons opt to go straight to the wing. And I think Edward van der Merwe manages to make the tackle on the line. And they're going to go up now for TMO. So they don't know whether or not it's a try. TT is a Northern Hemisphere ref, question mark. Indeed it is. I think he's English. Oh, ball's been knocked on, in fact, in the line there. So Edward van der Merwe's done very well there. So the ball's been knocked on the try line. But it's over the goal line, which I think means that it's a goal line dropout. Yeah, indeed. So goal line dropout. Lions doing very well to survive there and not concede the try. Of course, that's with a yellow card now, which is so undeserved. And even that penalty now that was just given to the Dragons for that scrum was also a shocker. But I think my passion did play a little bit of a part there. Nonetheless, Lions now trying to exit from their own 22. And they've got to play 9 minutes now of rugby without a prop on the field. Or at least without, I think, a loose forward now because they have made a change. Jordan Hendrickson opts for the goal line dropout. It was low. It's coming now to Moriarty on the halfway line. He's trying to go himself. He gets taken down by Chituka. It's just inside the Lions half on the 10-meter line. And Klabakanya makes the tackle. Dragons still with the ball here, just trying to set up phases. It's now going through the back line. They're trying to find some space in the wing. Not able to. It's a good tackle. Lions doing well to defend so far. Sangweni attempted to go for the ball. Not able to. Davies opts for the kick. It goes straight out. And it's going to be a Lions line out just inside their own half. Davies with a shocker there. I don't quite know what he was doing. But Davies tried to kick the ball out, tried to kick the ball forward and just kicked it straight out, like quite obviously with a lot of power. Yeah, so Lions again surviving and getting the benefit of the doubt there. Now with their own line out just inside their own half. So yeah, I think maybe some good fortune will come the Lions' way for a couple of the refereeing decisions that we've seen in the last 4 minutes, which were quite some howlers, if I'm honest. But nonetheless, Lions will have to try and deal with that. And they set up the maul. The maul is moving very well. It's going a little bit sideways now. It might be told to move once. Now Humber takes the ball out. He just goes to the blind side. He plays to Edward van der Merwe, but he's gone out. I'm not quite sure what the Lions were hoping for there. It was a bit of a Hail Mary piece of play. Nonetheless, it's not going to be a Dragons line out on their own 10-meter line. So, now Humber, they're being clever, but I'm not quite sure that the pass to Edward van der Merwe was on, or at least Edward van der Merwe was maybe a little bit too close to the touchline. Dragons player is down here, injured, so I think it's Moriarty. Or was it Roberts, I think, maybe, who's on the floor. But we're going to have to wait for him. Yeah, it is Roberts, sorry. So we'll have to wait for him to get off the floor before we can take this line out. But, yeah, Lions just need to hold out here with this yellow card. There's only about 6.5 minutes left for this yellow card, or 6 minutes still. So they take the line out anyway. So it's currently 14 men against 14. Apparently it's an advantage to the Dragons. I think the Lions hit the ball early before the play had come down. So Dragons can play with some freedom here. They try to go through the line. It is dropped. It's knocked on there eventually. So they're going to come back for the penalty on the 10-meter line. So we're almost into the last 10 minutes of this game, and it's 31 points apiece. So it's been a very exciting game for the neutral, but I'll tell you something. The ref has come very close to ruining the entire game in the last, just literally in about a minute's patch. Made the most stupid decision I've seen in a long time. Now players have a rush of blood to their head and they go and suddenly punch somebody or something stupid. I think refs also have the same thing, and they just make impulse decision in yellow cards. Rush of blood to their head. I think certainly also in that sort of situation, you're heading into the last 15 minutes of the game. The scores are level. He didn't even waste any time. He just blew for a penalty, straight yellow card, good have done. It took about 3 seconds from the moment that he thought the infringement took place to pulling out a yellow card. And I think if he just said, okay, can I just stop here? I think we might have seen a bit of foul play. And go to the TMO, and you could have seen whether or not it was real. And what he would have seen is the fact that there was no infringement at all. And that then we would have a fair contest still happening right now. So the Dragons have set up the maul on the 22. The maul has stopped twice. So now they're having to pass through the back line. Lions doing well to defend so far. Brings down by Jordan Hendrickson. Comes to Moriarty. Moriarty's a little bit isolated. Chituka not able to get over the Dragons doing very well to recover. Jordan Anderson makes the tackle again. He's trying to get over, not able to. It's over. They're over it. Lions are over it. And it's a knock-on by the Dragons, so that's going to do the Lions big favour as well. They've only got 4 minutes before this yellow card should come back. 4-ish minutes, 5-ish minutes before their yellow card should come back. And I think if they can get out of this yellow card territory without having conceded points, that'll be a huge victory for the Lions. But one should also question the stupidity of the Dragons captain when winning a penalty, tying scores 31-all, and not opting to just put themselves in the lead straight off of that. I realise that they might think, oh, there's only 14 men, we can go for the try, etc., etc., etc. But surely you put yourselves into the lead first and then try to go for the try again. Because now what's happened is we've gone 6 minutes of rugby, and they've not got anywhere with regards to the points. Whereas if they'd just taken that penalty as a result of that yellow card and put the ball over, they would have got 3 points, would have been seeing themselves in the lead. And granted, not a huge lead, but still in the lead. Right now, they're not in the lead. So if the Lions can escape this yellow card without having let in any points and managed to score a try at the end, Dragons would have done all of that for nothing. And it would have been just stupid decisions, because they could have got a penalty, put it over, another penalty, put it over, because they've won some penalties in the half. But they keep going for the line, and I don't understand. They've not been as successful in the second half with regards to that. Only scored 1 try the second half, the Dragons. So the Lions with the scrum. It's a good scrum from the Lions. It's good. They're holding well. Comes back to Andries Kutsia. He punts it far downfield. It's just outside the Dragons 22. Edwin van der Merwe's done well to chase this. Dragons have opted for the up and under. Nahamba's under this. It's a penalty to the Lions. That's a huge call. Penalty to the Lions. 19 not coming back around, apparently. Offsides from the Dragons 19. So Lions doing very, very well there to win that penalty. Now they're going to look to Jordan Hendricks, so he's going to try and punt this as far into the Dragons half as possible. And perhaps maybe the Lions can try and get an attack going from this and see if they can score points. Jordan Hendricks hits it. It's not out. It's a shocking kick. He's mishit it. He knew it as soon as he hit it. So it's a wasted opportunity for the Lions. But Dragons managed to recover. They hit it into the Lions 22. It's Andries Kutsia now, who's probably going to look for the up and under here. Not. Indeed, he looks for a grubber kick, which is a bit of an odd one. The grubber kick sort of works, though, because Dragons are having to run with it now. So the Lions have taken the Dragons down just inside the 10-meter line, almost racking over there. Dragons now spreading the line. They opt to kick it now, but it's gone into the Lions 22. Oh, it's a very, very horrible bouncing for Jordan Hendricks. So not able to control it as a result. And it's gone out now just inside the 22. And I'm not sure if he touched it. Because if he did, now it's going to be a Dragons line out just inside the Lions 22, which is really not great, unfortunately. Just watching this kick again. Oh dear, no, I don't think Jordan Hendricks touches it, but it does. He doesn't, it's a horrible bounce for him. Really didn't help him at all. So yeah, Lions, just as quickly as they got out of a disaster area, they put themselves back into it. The ref deems that Jordan Hendricks does touch it. I don't see it in the angle there that he did touch it, but nonetheless, ref says he did. So the Dragons now with the line out. It's not straight though, surely, but nonetheless, they lost it. Pasaki kicks the ball forward. There's a lot of space in behind that all the Dragons players are running back. It's Nahamba now who's there first. And the Dragons kick it all the way back into the Lions half. It's Edwin van der Merwe who recollects, and he's opting to run as quickly as he possibly can. He's trying to find space. He's found the gap. Edwin van der Merwe's got through. He's tripped, but he's managed to get the ball away to Nahamba. Nahamba's now there. Makwane, oh dear. Lions unfortunately conceding the possession there, but Edwin van der Merwe doing very well to find the gap. Almost managed to get through, but I think he basically had a speed wobble. And the Dragons win a penalty after turning the ball over. They're just holding the ball on. They kicked the ball forward, and it's gone out just outside the Lions 22. But watching this Edwin van der Merwe run again, he did manage to find space fantastically. And he did have a speed wobble. Passed to Nahamba. Nahamba goes down. Unfortunately, just couldn't get the ball away. So unlucky for the Lions there, but it's almost time for them to get the yellow card back. So yeah, indeed, the Lions are back to a full 15. So the yellow card is gone. So after all of that, not a single point was lost by the Lions there against the Dragons. So probably a good thing given the fact that the decision was shocking. But nonetheless, heading into the last 5 minutes here, very exciting stuff. 31 points to 31. Dragons have got a line out just outside the Lions 22. Lions back up to 15 players, having not conceded any points during those last 10 minutes, which is fantastic by them in terms of their defense. So very well done by them. But also Dragons, you do have to wonder about their decision making. The line out goes in. Lions tried to compete, weren't able to. They set up the maul, the Dragons. Lions are trying to stop the maul from moving. They've stopped it once, but it keeps moving forward slightly now. The maul is moving. Lions in danger now of giving away a penalty. The maul has stopped. I think the ref might have to say use it once. Indeed, the maul breaks up. That's a great tackle there. Lions are through. I think it was knocked on in the tackle, unfortunately. But great defense from the Lions. Great defense from the Lions. So they're going to come back for a knock-on in the tackle. So it'll be a scrum here. So it'll be a huge scrum. This could really determine a lot of the game. So Lions now back to their full complement in the scrum, and they were getting the better of the Dragons generally, even without that extra man. So now that they've got him back, this could potentially be, if the Lions can get a very good hit in the scrum, might be able to turn this over. It's a huge scrum, and it's a huge piece of play for the whole game to determine the outcome of this match. So both teams will be looking to try and get the best result out of the scrum as possible. Heading into the final 4 minutes of this match. It's a very exciting match right at the end here of this European Challenge Cup. Bind. Set. So the scrum is going. The Lions have got a great hit on this. They're pushing forward now. It's collapsed on the... and the ref says it's just collapsed generally, so he's going to recall the scrum. But I do think that Lions did have a little bit of a better hit on that, so... We'll try and go again. It was Smith that went down. Well, Smith didn't go down, but it was his side that went down. So we'll see whether or not this scrum can result in a penalty for either team. It's going to be huge if it does, of course, because penalty to the Dragons in this situation, they'll try to kick it for posts, and they should put themselves into the lead. For the Lions, of course, it would stop them having to defend in this area, and they can kick the ball far into the Dragons' half and try and get themselves an attacking opportunity to get some points on the board there. So basically, this scrum will determine a lot of the pretty much the outcome of this match. They could potentially swing the whole match in either team's favor. It's a better hit from the Dragons this time. It's a very even scrum. The ball is taken out by the Dragons. They're going for the blind side. Nahamba makes the tackle. It's a great tackle. Dragons still with the ball inside the Lions 22 now. That's a great hit by the Lions, my word. Driving him back. Oh, the Dragons really struggling for options here. Dragons a little bit lost in terms of options here. Lions got to be very careful not to give away a penalty though. And he's a little bit isolated now, the Dragons player. Lions trying to get over him, not able to. Dragons able to get back there. It's a very tired bunch of teams, and somebody's down in the background there for the Lions. I don't know who it is. They try to opt for the just to go straight through from the ruck. They come back to the drop goal attempt. He's mishit it, I think. No, he's missed it. He's missed the attempted kick. So it still remains 31 points to 31. So the Lions doing very well to defend that, essentially. They don't concede in the end. Dragons set up the drop goal attempt. And the drop goal was a shocker. He did slip a little bit as he took it. So Lions get away with that one. So it's going to be a 22-meter dropout for the Lions. So, yeah, almost into the last minute of this game. So it's a huge interest, I suppose, in this last minute just to see who could possibly win this one. Both teams with bonus points, of course. Lions with more points in the second half than the Dragons. Jordan Hendrickson kicks it very deep into the Dragons' half. But the Dragons driving it up now, almost up to the halfway line. They opt for the short up and under. It's not the greatest kick. Nahamba's under this, but no, he regathers it. Dragons with the ball again. Lions not able to regather it properly. So Dragons with the ball inside the Lions' half. They're spreading out to the wing, but it's a good tackle from Jordan Hendrickson. Well, attempted tackle at least. Doesn't completely make the tackle. Dragons on the attack again inside the Lions' half. Almost approaching the 22. And Klabakanya makes a great challenge. Smith's over the ball. Has to be a brilliant from Smith, breaking up for his yellow card, which was never deserved, but he manages to get over the ball, and Klabakanya makes the tackle, and Smith gets over to hold it on, so wins the Lions penalty, which is huge, of course. And Lions will now try to punt this into the Dragons' half, and if they can win a penalty there, they can go for posts and win this game right at the end of it. So that's a huge... It's a huge decision. I think the Dragons players are moaning about a potential high tackle, but we just watched the replay from Klabakanya there. It's definitely not a high tackle. It just makes it high on the chest. So I don't think they're going to change any decision there. So no, definitely not. Definitely not a high tackle at all. Yeah, and the ref is basically telling the Dragons captain, who's moaning like a sour grapes, And he's giving them 10 meters forward as a result. There's nothing better. So he's just talked themselves into a 10-meter thing, which has put it into the range of Jordan Hendrickse. My God, I don't believe this is the correct decision for the Lions. I mean, talk about in the range of Jordan Hendrickse. Do you know how big this kick is? Oh my word. It's literally on the 10-meter line inside the Lions half. This is a huge kick to make it over. If he makes this, of course, Lions win. If he doesn't make this, that'll be the game over. Unless the Dragons try to take the ball up and it doesn't go out. But this kick to win the game right at the end here. There's Jordan Hendrickse here with the kick. There's a huge amount of pressure on him. He has played very well the second half. It's a massive kick to try and make. 60-meter kick for Jordan Hendrickse. The time is up. He runs up. It's got the distance. Doesn't have the direction. It does not. It does not. And the Dragons opt to kick it out. It will end in a draw. It will end in a draw. I'm not quite sure why the Lions opted for the kick there. I said they should have kicked it into the Dragons half and tried to win another penalty there. But I suppose it wasn't, he did have the distance and he has kicked these before. But just misses at the end there. Oh my word, literally just missing to the left. It was a fantastic effort from Jordan Hendrickse, but unfortunately not able to do it. And probably a fair result in the end to be 31-31. It ends in a draw for the Lions' first ever European Challenge Cup. Dragons will be, of course, very chuffed having managed to get a draw out of this game, where 2 weeks ago, of course, Lions beat them. A fantastic match of rugby, though. And, yeah, my word. What a game. What a game. Oh, my word. They had the opportunity to win the Lions there. I'm not quite sure why they opted to go for the kick there from such a distance. Nonetheless, it was worth the attempt. And, yeah, that game there ends 31 points to 31. Lions and Dragons sharing points. Both with bonus points as well. Great game of rugby, though. Tell you that much. Very, very good advert for the game. And, yeah, my word. I do think the game would have been slightly different had the ref not made that shocking decision with regards to Smith and a yellow card. Nonetheless, I do think the result's fair. I think a fair result, given the fact that, yeah, I mean, I'd say both teams had similar sort of attacking opportunities, and Lions had some great defense at some points there. Lions started the second half fantastically, but just weren't able to carry that momentum through the whole way. But, yeah. So, yeah, guys, you've been watching Forever Sports, Forever Rugby on Forever Sports, with our partners, of course. I've been Mark. We've been watching Lions versus Dragons. It ends in a draw. Bonus points for both teams. Great game of rugby. I do need to go and do a recap video now, and then I do need to change across onto Harlequins and Sharks. So be sure to join us with the Harlequins and Sharks game, basically the game of the day. I cannot wait for that one. So, yeah, we'll see you there. So I'll be sure to see you there. Until then, keep well, guys, and yeah, go and wait in the chat room for the Sharks Harlequins game, and have some chats there with amongst each other. Give your thoughts about the game, etc. What your predictions are going to be for the Sharks game. How good was this game, etc. So yeah, I'll see you now though. But until then, guys,